Welcome to Coding Smartphone. I'm Dom, and today I want to talk about JavaScript functions. Functions are just containers that contain block of code to be executed at a particular or desired moment. So, a function have a name and a function keyword itself, and it can also have parentheses. So in JavaScript, to create a function, one of the ways is just to write down the function keyword, give it a name, and the name could be just anything. And my function name is just going to be add up. Why? Because I'm going to add up some numbers. So there is my function, and a function can execute code inside it or outside it. So a function can have access code outside it and inside it. So to execute code right straight inside the function, I could just write down console.log 2000, and I'm going to run this, and nothing is happening. Why? Because my function is not being invoked. So to invoke a function, and function invocation is just calling the function up to execute the code. So to invoke a function, you're just going to write down the function name, add up, and add parentheses to it, close it with a semicolon, and then run it again, and you have 2000 in the console. So as I said, the function can execute, can have access to code outside it. So I'm going to create a variable const num equal to 2000. So instead of the 2000 straight in the function, I'm hooking that a variable. So I'm accessing the code from outside the function. Okay. And if you don't know much about variables, I already have video on variables, showing how variables works in JavaScript and how to create them. So you can go and check it out. So I'm gonna call this function, and as you clear this and run it again. So there I have 2000 in the console. So just to let you know it's actually working properly, I'm going to change this to 3000 and run it again. And there you have a function executed. So I also talk about function having parameters, and function can have a lot of parameters, a lot as many as you want. So my function is just gonna have 3 parameters. So num1, num2, and num3. Okay. Now I'm not going to need this, so I will just clear this variable off, and I'm going to insert the parameter straight away. So first I'm just going to try to console log the first parameter, and it returns undefined. And why is that? It's because this makes no meaning to the function. The function don't know what num1 is, because there's no value assigned to the num1 parameters. So to add a parameter value, or add a parameter to a function, you have to come in between of these parameters and put something there. So let's say I put a 10 and run this again. Now you can see I have 10 in the console. So I'm going to give a value to all the parameters. So first one is 10, second one is 3, and 6. The third one is 6. Now I'm going to add them up. So num1 plus num2 plus num3. So plus num3. And say I remove this one, is going to return none, because the num3 is going to be undefined, and add undefined to a number is going to return none. Okay, so not a number. So and now I'm going to add it up 6, and run this again. So there I have 19 there. So as you can see, our function is working perfectly, and just as we want our function to work. So you could also change this operator. So I'm just going to copy this here and you know comment this one out. So I'm just going to comment the invocation here, and I'm going to write a multiply. So I'm going to change this from add up to multiply because I want to execute the multiply function. So this is, I'm going to change this to a multiplication sign, and the other sign to a multiplication sign. Now because I've commented this, the add up function is not going to execute. So that's what JavaScript comment does. It prevents some codes to be executed. And also you can also use comments to explain your code. Okay, so I could say, just by the way, I could just say multiply function, so that when you see this code, this code is just it's just for multiplication purpose. Okay, so I've commented this one out, and now I'm going to run this there. So we have 10 multiplied by 3, and needs to also multiply by 6, and that is giving us 180. So this is how one of the ways to create a function in JavaScript. And one other way to create a function in JavaScript is by using a variable. So I'm going to have here const say multiply will be equal to function. So if I introduce a const here, then I don't need to add this multiply here. So I can clear this one off, and it's gonna work the same way. So clear the console and run this again, and as you can see we have our code run there perfectly. So this shares the 180. And also you can use arrow functions. Okay, so to use arrow functions, you just have to clear this one off, the function keyword. You don't need the function keyword if we're using arrow function. The name is arrow function. Okay, so there you just have to introduce an equal to sign, and a greater than. So this is how to create an arrow function. So this is called an arrow function. And when I try running this, I'm going to change the values here. So this is just going to be 17. Oh, sorry, 18. Okay, 18 is good. And I'm going to run this, and here we have 3 to 4. So as you can see, we have 3 ways of creating a function in JavaScript, using this one, the arrow function, or the other function where you have to add the function name. So that is created as this. Let me just copy this and show it to you, just so maybe you've forgotten. So you can just add the function here. So say function, and you're going to clean the arrow and the equal to sign. So these are 3 of the ways to create a function in JavaScript. You can just use this one or that one or this, and either of them are going to work perfectly, and they're going to work as you want them to. Okay, so There are other complex way to use JavaScript function. You can use them to organize your code and all that, and there are other more serious way to use JavaScript function. So let me demonstrate one here, and so I'm going to clean this, and I'm going to use set timeout. Okay, so I want to delay the adding up a little bit, so I'm just going to do this add up here, and so let's see, I call this function without the parentheses. What is going to happen? um what is happening here going to happen here? There's going to be no invocation. So oh, sorry, I decided to run this not with the console, sorry. So there's going to be no invocation. Okay, so I press on this and nothing is happening. So that's what happened if you run the function, or you call the function without the parentheses. So this is what is going to happen. So the add up here has no parameter, so I'm gonna run this, it's just going to be none. Okay, so I could just try this one out. Say, let's see. So I could just add this to it. I could just add parameters to it. Sorry. I think, yeah, I could just add parameters to it using the other parameters of this set timeout function. So I'm going to delay this by 1 second. So 1000 milliseconds, and run this, and yeah, I have my 30 there. I could delay this by 3 seconds, and run this again. So as you can see, there, the code is actually running just as you want. So this is how to use JavaScript function, and as I said, there are more ways, more other ways you can use JavaScript function, and this is just the basic. And please like my video if you give me a thumbs up if you like my video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to comment and also share with your friend. If you want to see more educative stuff like this, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.